Did you later determine that this was Gannon Stauch?
Yes.
I'm just going to use Gannon Stauch as who we're talking about here. Did you learn about the condition of Gannon Stauch's body as it laid underneath that bridge February to March of 2020?
Yes, I heard that it was a body in a suitcase, and based upon the condition of the initial evidence that I received, the bulk swab and blood stain, I could tell that it was a decomposing body.
And was it surprising to you that you were not able to get enough DNA from the buccal swabs and the blood card from autopsy to develop a profile?
No, not at all.
Why is that?
During decomposition, the DNA breaks down, and usually we have to go to a harder tissue such as a bone or teeth.
And is it because of the deterioration that you alluded to earlier, Gannon's body being under the bridge by water in the humidity and heat of Florida?
Yes, and the amount of time.
And I think you just said you had to go to some bone. Tell us about what you did with the bone and why did you go to the bone?
Yes, next I received a rib bone, and I took numerous samples from the rib bone at separate times. So initially I swabbed some of the tissue on the rib bone, took a cutting of the rib bone, and went through the process of trying to get DNA from those. The swabbing of the tissue resulted in not enough DNA to go any further. The cutting from the tissue, I again got a very low amount of DNA, but was not able to interpret a profile. So I went back to the bone again, broke it open and removed marrow, and went through the DNA analysis again. And again, was only able to obtain information, but not enough to interpret. Went back to the bone again and actually took pieces of the bone and did a longer process. It takes several days to get a DNA profile from, and with that, I was able to get a partial profile. So a complete profile is information at all 21 of the markers we're looking at. And with this partial profile, I was able to get information at 9 markers. So the difference between the markers is the length. So the longer a marker is, the more likely it's going to be chopped up and not give us any information.
And so when you were able to get these 9 markers you alluded to, this was from a rib bone, correct?
Correct.
Did you also have at least information that there was a tentative identification that this was Gannon Stauch?
Yes, I did.
And did you also have indication that there was a DNA profile developed for Gannon Stauch here in Colorado Springs at the Metro Crime Lab?
Yes.
Did you contact the Metro Crime Lab with the 9 markers or the profile that you developed from the rib bone to see whether or not there was a match with the known profile from Gannon Stauch that we had here in Colorado Springs?
Yes, I did.
And what was the results of that?
I received confirmation back from them that they had a match with the profile that I generated from the rib bone and a case here.
And what does that mean?
That means that the markers that I obtained a profile from matched a standard or a DNA profile that they had developed here in this case.
Was that confirmation, at least for you, that that was the body of Gannon Stauch?
Yes, if it were a case that I was working through to the end, I would have continued working to obtain a complete profile from the remains, and then I would also need to obtain whatever piece of evidence they used to get the complete profile from here in Colorado, and compare those myself and then perform statistics, which would give you a likelihood ratio on how good of a match it was.
And do you know whether or not anyone from Colorado Springs did exactly what you just described?
I assume that they did, but I do not know.
Essentially, when you made this determination that the 9 profiles from the rib bone matched the known profile for Gannon Stout, did the El Paso County Sheriff's Office and the Metro Crime Lab here in Colorado Springs kind of take it from there and take over the investigation?
Yes.
Those are my questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Cross-examination, Mr. Tellini?
No questions.
Do any of the jurors have any questions for?
Hack. I'm sorry. PACK.
Ms. Pack, if you would step forward and raise your right hand, please, ma'am. Up here. You swear affirm the testimony about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Go ahead and have a seat in the witness stand. Please watch your step as you step into the stand.
Morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Could you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name for the record?
Alexis Pack, Pack.
And where do you live, Miss Pack?
Pensacola, Florida.
First time in a courtroom?
Yes.
Everyone's really nice in here, I promise, okay?
Okay.
Miss Pack, what do you do for a living?
I just stay at home now. I did work at the hotel as a front desk agent.
Okay. And when you say the hotel, are you talking about the Candlewood
Candle-
Suites?
Yes, sir.
And which Candlewood Suites did you work at?
The one in Pensacola on Davis Highway.
And how long were you working there?
I worked there for 3 years.
Were you working there back on February 4th of 2020?
Yes, sir.
And as part of that job at the front desk, would you routinely check people in, check people out, that kind of thing?
Yes, sir.
And would you fill out paperwork as you did that?
Yes.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Me?
I hand you what's been marked as People's Exhibit 181. And it's in a plastic folder. You can pull out that document if you like. I believe it's a 3-page document. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is that?
It's the form that they fill out whenever they check in.
And did you fill that form out?
I did not.
Who filled that form out? Do you know?
It's the person who checks in. They fill it out.
Let me have you turn to page 3 of that document. You see that computer printout?
Yes.
Do you see your name on that computer printout?
Yes.
Do you see the name of the person who checks someone in on that computer printout?
I do.
Okay. So tell us about that. Who checked this person in that's related to this document, and then who checked them out?
So there was a lady named Sharon who worked there who checked her in, and I checked her out.
Okay. And are these documents that you use with anytime someone checks in or checks out of the hotel?
Yes.
And are these routinely used in the course of business at the Candlewood Suites?
Yes.
And does this accurately depict the check-in and check-out for the person named in this document? Back on February 4th, 2020.
Yes.
We would move to admit People's Exhibit 181.
Defense?
No objection.
Exhibit 181 will be admitted. Go ahead.
And before we publish that, I'd like to show you another exhibit, if I may approach, Your Honor.
You may.
Show you People's Exhibit 221. It's already been admitted into evidence. You recognize this overhead photo here?
Yes.
And I don't want to be Captain Obvious here, but the label that says Candlewood Suites there. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
Is that where the hotel is located at?
Yes.
And is that where you were working on February 4th, 2020, when this person checked in?
So I don't think I was working when she checked in, but when she checked out.
Did she check out on February 4th, 2020?
So I'm not sure if she checked out with me or if the housekeeping staff told me she was gone, and that's why I checked her out.
We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Just for the record, I'll publish to the jury again. It's Exhibit 220. Okay, we can publish People's Exhibit 181 now. It's kind of tough to see on the TV screens. Can we zoom in on that a little bit, please? So let's start with the top part of that exhibit, and you can look at the one, the actual exhibit in front of you, if you like.
Okay.
What is the name of the person who checked in back on February 4th, 2020?
I don't know how to say the last name, but it's Leticia Stauchs.
Okay, you did a pretty good job with the last name. And again, I know it says there, but where is this person from, at least what they're saying when they check in?
South Carolina.
And they does this information also show the method of how they paid for the room and things like that?
Yes.
Down below it says, where it says reservation information, it says company, and it says Ford Motor Company. Where did that come from? Do you know?
So that's a fixed rate we would have had in the system for that company.
And so whoever is getting the reservation, would they have to tell whoever's working the front desk that I'm with the Ford Motor? Anybody check to see if that's accurate?
No, sir.
If we can now go to page 2 of that document. Again, we have page 2 of this exhibit. Again, Ford Motor Company, is that again the same information
Yes.
that you get from the person who's checking in?
Yes.
Can we go back to the first page? I forgot to mention something on that. Thanks. Or just the top part. Appreciate it. You're familiar with the rooms there at the hotel?
Yes.
What is a standard suite 1 queen non-smoking mean?
It's just one queen bed.
Standard room, I take it? Okay. I went to law school, so that's how I come up with these great questions. Can we go to page 3 of that document now? We rotate that so we can. I'm asking you to do a lot. I appreciate that, Ms. Gratiano. It won't rotate, huh? All right. Well, let's look at this page here. Does it have the times that the person actually checked in and the times they checked out?
Yes, sir.
Could you please tell the jury the time that Ms. Stauchs checked in to the hotel?
It looks like it was 12:23, I think.
Okay. And you base that on the 0023 that we see on the document?
Yes, sir.
And that would have been on what date?
February 4th, 2020.
And then your name is associated with the checkout. What time did this individual check out?
11:11.
And that top line, I know we can't see it because it's documented. Could you read what the description says?
Where it says checkout.
It says Stauch, Leticia.
Okay, it says Stout Leticia checking out on 2/4/20, having arrived 2/3/20.
Now, does that indicate when the reservation was actually made?
Yes,
So the actual checkout time would have been what is documented on this page.
correct.
Can you tell by looking at this page what time the reservation was actually made?
11:43.
So roughly a half an hour before she actually physically checked in?
Yes.
Does this document indicate to you how many guests would have been checked in on that date?
No.
If you go down to that back to the first page, kind of the second area on that first page, we can zoom in on that, please. Thanks. Want to scroll up a little, please? And keep going. Yep, there we go, right there. Do you see where it says number of guests?
Yes.
What does it say there?
1.
And do you know when this document was signed? Was it when they check in or when they check out?
When they check in.
Those are my questions, John. Thanks.
Defense cross-examination.
Thank you. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
My name is Will Cook. I'm an attorney for the defense. I'm going to ask you a few questions, okay?
Okay.
So you had nothing to do with the check-in in this case,
No, sir.
okay? And you can't remember if you actually checked out on February 4th or the 5th, this Leticia Stauchs?
No, sir.
Would you be able to recognize the person that checked out or you checked out on that date?
No, sir.
Okay. In fact, you may not have ever even seen this person.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Redirect.
No, thanks, John.
Do any of the jurors have any questions for Ms. Pack? No? Great. Thank you, ma'am. You may step down. Watch your step as you step down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our morning recess until about 10:45. If I can have all of the jurors back in the jury room at 10:45, we should be able to start on time at that point. Again, don't discuss the case among yourselves. Don't discuss the case with anyone else. And with that, we'll see you back at 10:45. All rise for the jury, please.